All right, everybody. Well, hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Ripple Effect Podcast. I am your host, Daniel, and in the studio we have Miss Cheryl Botkins, which is here in the middle, and on the far side, Mr. Levi Black is back in action, and we're glad that he is here. Whether you're listening to this on the go or watching this online, we're so happy that you're here and you have joined us. Today is going to be a full episode, so we're going to recap Sunday. We're going to give you the TLCC top 3 of the week, and then we have actually these two are going to highlight a new ministry / class for us that we're going to be getting going here in the near future. So with all that being said, first we're going to recap Sunday. Now, Sunday was a busy day for me. I don't know how it was for you all. It was a busy day for me. The highlight, though, was I got to baptize my daughter. I don't know if you didn't know that. You didn't know that.
I knew it was coming. But
so Shyla Renee, my second daughter, I got to baptize her, and that was great. That was a great experience. It's different. It was different than my first. Emery, I don't know. It's just they're totally different people. So you got to approach them differently, but it was very exciting. So that happened second hour. So if you were in first hour and you missed it, you can go watch the second hour if you want to see that. But that was a highlight of the morning. What about you guys? Did you have a highlight of the morning?
I did. So in our high school class, we started a new series called Invited, and so we're basically talking about how we want to invite people to be part of God's party, basically. And we talked about the difference of being included and versus excluded, looked at some scriptures. We actually used the same scripture you did in Luke 15.
Yeah, they cheated off of me. I cheated off of them.
But we played this game. I don't know have y'all ever played the game Green Glass Door?
Yeah.
So it was kind of that similar.
Do you want to do a demonstration right now? Because Cheryl's never played it.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead and start
it. The Green Glass Door?
Yeah, go ahead and start it, and I'll...
So I would take with me through the Green Glass Door a slice of cheese.
Cheryl, what are you going to take? And he'll let you know if you can go through the Green Glass Door.
I'm horrible at these games. Okay. You're taking a what?
I'm going to take a slice of cheese.
Slice of cheese. I'm going to take a slice of bread.
Nope, you can't take it.
Can I take I take a pool noodle?
Horrible at it.
You can take a pool noodle.
Yeah, I can.
Oh.
Did you get it? Do you?
Yes.
It's the double, so it's the
2 letters.
Yeah.
2 letters following it because green, glass, and door all have. Yeah.
But you can. There's variations of that where you can do like, your word has to start with the last letter of the word I did, or like you can have variations.
Yeah, and that's what we did.
Right.
So what I did was I'm inviting everyone to a party, and you get to come to this party if you bring the right thing.
Right.
And it was so much fun because we ended up having a pretty full class, and about half of them got it. We did like 2 full run-throughs.
Yeah.
About half of them got it, and some of them just get super frustrated.
Yeah, so angry.
Some of them just give up, or they think of the craziest answer possible because they think that, like, however outlandish it is, that's what's going to get them in. Yeah. And so it was a lot of fun. I enjoy fun activities like that.
That's good. That's good to hear. I was the kid that oftentimes wouldn't get it, but I'd pretend like I understood. Oh yeah, I know what's going on. Yeah, I get it.
Well, and it's so much fun. It's so much funnier too whenever people accidentally get it, and then they're like validated. Oh yeah, I know what's going on, and then
didn't.
The next time they answer, they have no clue whatsoever. It's really funny.
That's good. Cheryl, what were you doing Sunday?
We were celebrating with family for my husband's birthday. 50. 50 years.
The big 50.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
That's awesome. Where'd you guys go?
We
saw
went
pictures.
to St. Louis.
Okay.
Yep. We spent the weekend there and did a lot of things, as much as we could do in the rain.
Yeah. It was kind of nasty.
Yeah, it was.
That's unfortunate. So if you see Gerald, make sure you say happy birthday to him if you haven't already done that, and make sure that you give him grief for being an old man now.
That's right. He is. Aches and pains go with it.
Old man. Well, this Sunday we were talking about what we introduced a new series called From Death to Life, and we're just walking through getting ready for the celebration of the resurrection of Jesus. Paul says that is the foundation of our faith in 1 Corinthians 15. If Jesus didn't rise from the dead, everything we believe in our faith is pointless. And so we're talking about, well, what does Jesus bring us from and to? And so we're talking about how he brings us from lost to found, from doubting to faith, from death to life, and then from confused to inspired. And so I think those are the titles, I think. But we were talking about being lost and being found on Sunday, and we were talking about what are the things that lead us to being lost. And I just wanted to recap and highlight for you here three areas that often lead us to being lost. And I was listening to a sermon by Billy Graham, which I don't just go listen to him all the time. But there's some old archive sermons, and I was hearing, and he took Luke 15, the story, and he was talking through Luke 15, and he mentioned like a couple of things, and he wasn't talking about going from lost to found, but he mentioned a couple things that I kind of grabbed onto and then worked with about the different parables and how it highlights different ways we can be lost. So when you go listen, I'll give you a sneak peek now. We talked about how the lost sheep is stupidity. Sometimes we get lost and far from God because we make really dumb choices. And I played a video of a sheep with a bag over its head and running into things, and there's a reason that sheep are often displayed or thought about as like not very bright animals. So our own stupidity sometimes can lead us to a place of lost. And then the lost coin is carelessness. You can be careless with your faith. Not that you meant to be, but you didn't really value it the way you should have, and you find yourself far from God. And then the prodigal son is a prideful heart, which is the most dangerous of all of those. But in all of them, what we need Jesus. We need his mercy and his grace. But when you're praying for someone who might be far from God, having that mindset could be helpful of like, how do I interact with them? Well, are they just making dumb decisions that you need to just be patient and help them as they're maturing? Are they being careless that you might need to like shake them up a little bit and be like, hey, you need to see how important this is? Or is it a prideful heart? And that might help us in our prayers to be more specific with people we feel are far from God. So anyway, you can let me know what you think about it.
Thanks for the recap. And second, I need to watch a second service.
Yeah, well, you definitely. And here's the thing. Sometimes first hour, I think, okay, I preached that better. But this week, I thought I preached second hour better. But that's,
Well, I just want to see the baptism.
Okay, we'll skip forward. Something happened on the Facebook. It split it into two videos for some reason. Something happened. So on YouTube, there's two videos for the one service. I don't know what happened, but
we'll figure it out.
Okay, well, that's your recap. And if you missed any of those, the sermon or the service, go to tlcc.church. You can see it there, or you can see it on YouTube or on Facebook, and you can find it all there. Okay, we have TLCC top 3 that we need to let you know about. The first is the Shine Women's event at Central Christian College of the Bible is happening on Thursday. Now, I wrote down the schedule because I knew I would forget. It's on the 10th, Thursday. Check-in is at 2:30, and I think the workshops and stuff begin at 3, and then they've got workshops and snack time and fellowship time and stuff going on. If you're not able to be there that early, dinner starts at 6. So it's a great event. Ladies are going, and we'd encourage you to be there. They've got 2 wonderful speakers coming in, and it should be wonderful. I can't speak from experience because they never invite me to the women's conference. Isn't that a shame? Second is the men's second Saturday, which is 7:30 on Saturday. We get together for coffee, Bible study. Usually we have some donuts there, and it's a good time of fellowship, a good time of prayer, a good way to start off your weekend. So that happens on Saturday at 7:30, and then we have Easter coming up. Mm-hmm. It's here already.
2 Sundays.
It's here already, which is wild. We're going to start with our Good Friday service. That's a service for everybody. Families are welcome, and we'll have that on Friday, April 18th, and it starts at 7. We try to keep that service under an hour because we have everybody together, so kids and everybody's in there. But that's going to happen on the 18th at 7. And then our Easter schedule is 8 a.m. with our first service. Then we have breakfast at 9:15, and that goes from 9:15 to 10:15. And then we have our normal service at 10:45. So Mary and her kids will serve breakfast, and they decorate, and it's a great time of fellowship, and we're excited for that. We want to encourage you to invite a friend, invite someone who maybe has come to church or is hesitant. Easter's a great time because people kind of feel obligated to go to church. So use that guilt. I'm just kidding. It's a good time, though, to invite people to church. So there you go. That's your TLCC top 3. Women's event on Thursday, men's Bible study Saturday morning, and then we've got Easter happening, and all that's posted online. Okay, Levi and Cheryl. I want to take us back to a conference that we had. We went to. It was in Florida, and it was last year, and it was what was it, like end of summer that we went, early fall, end of summer. We've been working with this group called Intentional Churches, and we've been talking about what's next steps for Timberlake. And one thing that's come to the surface is the idea of our mission to go and make disciples, right? And you could say the church should be about many things, which it should be, but we have been given a specific command by Jesus to go and make disciples of all nations, and that includes teaching and all of those things, but it also includes those who don't know anything about God or are far from God, us reaching out to them, which comes with this idea and concept that they have of the one. So in your own words, let's start here. What is the one, and why is it not the Matrix, Neo the one? I don't know if you ever watched the Matrix. But like, what is the one, and how would you articulate what that is?
So the way and this is kind of the way I've thought about it, and I think it correlates very well with the one story that we find in Luke 15 talking about the lost sheep. So it's the idea of someone who is far from God, who has wandered away from the flock, and so your job is trying to reach the one, so someone who's close to you yet far from God. And so that's kind of the idea of the one that we're thinking of, is just as Jesus was seeking after the one sheep that left the flock and needed to be saved. That's kind of the idea that we think about as far as the one, is we're trying to find someone who's far from God and trying to bring them back.
Cheryl, how would you articulate it?
I think he did a great job.
No, you got to do it in your own words, Cheryl. You got to do it in your own words.
But I think part of that is when we're talking about looking at that one that's far from God. It's how close are they to us? How close are the people around us, and are we in relationship with them? And being mindful of our relationship with God, but also where are they at in their spiritual walk and their spiritual formation. How well do they know God? How well do they know Jesus? And part of our role with the Great Commission is to look at the great dilemma of that gap that they are experiencing, and they're distant from God.
Yeah. So the Great Commission being, here's the goal of reaching all of these people, right? Go and make disciples of all nations, at introducing them to Jesus. But the great dilemma is people are still far from God. And how do we close that gap? And I was talking with, I think early on in this process, I was talking with a friend of mine who had gone through it, and I was struggling with the concept of identifying one person that you can intentionally pray for, work on, and try to help them see Jesus and have a relationship with Jesus. Because I'm like, well, I'm supposed to do that with everybody. And he's like, great. If you're supposed to do that with everybody, tell me one person you're doing that with. And I was like, like there's a level of accountability that makes it a lot harder. So I'm curious, have you guys felt that? Because as a staff, we've been pushing this idea of like, all of us should have a one that we're praying for, we're working towards showing them Jesus, and then helping them have a relationship. Have you felt that, I don't know, accountability? Like, does it feel like a different level for you of I don't know, I'm accountable to this.
Yeah, I think my bigger challenge with that and the accountability, and I know we've talked about this, is the majority of the people we are around already have a relationship with God. Like they're not far from God. So as a staff and working in the church, it makes it a little more challenging because we don't necessarily work out in the community at a place of business. And so I feel like I have to be more intentional when I'm, at places in the community, looking for individuals that, I do know them, but I don't know them associated with church. Yeah. So can I build a relationship and a connection with them?
And just so to clarify, when we're talking about finding that one person or identifying that one person in your life or your sphere of influence that is far from God that you can intentionally help bring, that doesn't take the place of those people in your life that know God that you're helping disciple or that they're discipling you. I mean, I'm still going to love my family. I'm still connected with my small group. I'm still, helping other Christians in their walk of faith. It's saying, don't forget about the people that don't know anything or have left the church or have rejected Christianity, because there is something different about going to someone who's far from God or that doesn't believe maybe in Jesus, and then saying, I'm gonna go after you. So do you feel a heightened sense of like intensity?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's one of the things that going through this process has revealed to me is that I don't have that much. And there's not enough areas in my life that I have interacted with people that are far from God. And so that has helped me a lot. And even just like these principles and talking about how to reach the one, and it's helped me in how I interact with people, but it has also helped me rethink of like, what do I want my life to look like? And then my life needs to be based on how can I also impact people to bring them back to the flock. Then even my like, what do I do for fun? Well, that starts getting changed a little bit too. And so, okay, what can I do for fun? That also allows me to connect with people and not just go do stuff by myself or only do stuff in this closed friend group. And so that's been, it's added accountability, but it's been really challenging too, of like trying to reframe how I think about every part of my life so that I can try to start implementing those things into my life of trying to reach the one.
Yeah. I think reframe is a good word to coin around that, because it also that idea of people have come to the church and that's been the space where, okay, I'll share Jesus with you.
Yeah, because you're already here.
You're already here. So let's do this. And
that's valuable.
It absolutely is. We're not going to say we're not doing that anymore.
Right.
We certainly are going to keep doing that. But this is in addition and reframing. We are going after the one. Yeah. To be one aware. Yeah.
So we've been toying with these ideas, finding some conviction, and there's the hard part about it for trying to reframe your mindset and your thinking. There's also been some really positive things for me that have come out of it, and I'm curious, starting to think this way, has there been any like positive things that you're like, why hadn't I thought about this? Or, oh, wow, that's really impactful. Or I've seen like good things come from thinking this way. Have you had any? I mean, I can give you an example because I've already thought about it. Or do you have something that?
Yeah, there's been a couple of things. One of the things, what we're leading into is the new class that we're going to be doing.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah, well, sneak peek.
Yeah.
No, but one of those things is going through all the stuff that goes into this class and the principles that are taught is how I think about even so whenever I'm sitting in a line at the DMV, which I mean we all know that can take a very long time sometimes.
I love that. Yes.
It's a great experience.
Best place.
Yeah.
But it really kind of changes how I view my ability to interact with other people. Because before it'd just be like, oh hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
But
Right.
now I'm like, okay, I should genuinely try to get to know this person and see if there's any way I can connect with them again. Sometimes no. And so then it's just a gentle, like, God bless you, whatever you go do. But that's really kind of helped me like in my interactions with other people is this like new principle of how can I connect with this person and kind of be the person to help lead them back, not just a God bless you, you should repent and turn back. It's how can I be that shepherd in a way of trying to get the sheep and bring them back. So that's kind of helped me think of this new, or kind of reorient the new process of how I do things regularly.
Yeah. Do you have anything like that?
I know one of the things that I will share as you step into the class with us is one of the things that I've worked on really, really intently over the last many years is moving from a task-oriented to a relationship-oriented process, because I am very task-focused. And so this has been really helpful to just reinforce that process of stepping into relationships and really seeing people for who they are, where they are, how they are, where they are.
Yeah. Yeah. And some people maybe do that more naturally than others, but to do it as intentionally, to say, this is part of my God-given responsibility, honor, even, that we could help someone see Jesus. And then to take it a step further, not just to say, I hope they see Jesus in how I behave, but then to intentionally engage and say, I'm going to build a relationship with you. I'm going to learn who you are, with the intent, and maybe even saying that, with the intent of, I hope you're going to connect with, know, and then surrender to Jesus. And it's a lot of times, if you grow up in the church like I did, a lot of times we just say, well, they'll know who we are based on how we behave. And it's like, great, absolutely. Why not take that next step of then saying, engaging the person, asking the questions. And one of the positive things for me that's come out of this whole idea of pursuing the one is thinking about church not from what I want, but from what a person who's far from God needs. Mm-hmm. And the church, you get into the whole, is this seeker friendly or whatever. It is for believers who gather together to celebrate and to honor and worship Jesus. But Paul's very clear, when a non-believer comes in, they should know what's going on. They should feel honored and welcomed, and they should be drawn to Christ. And so the things that sometimes bother me, or I think are really important, when I think about my one, and if he shows up to church, what will he care about? All of a sudden, that coffee means a whole lot more. The person who says, oh, here, have this seat. I normally sit there, but yeah, you sit here today, I'll sit with you. That matters so much more, to have someone that's friendly, or an invitation. Those small things that maybe don't matter to me a whole lot matter so much more when you're viewing it through that lens. So let's get to the class. So that's all the buildup. We're talking about the one as being someone who's far from God, that's in your sphere of influence, that you have identified, and the Holy Spirit has moved in your heart to say, I think I'm being led to talk to this person and have a relationship with them. Not just a one-time invitation, but I'm going to get to know them so that I can influence them for Christ. That's the one. Being one aware is being aware of that. And now we want to talk about one life. So, what is the one life class, and how does it help us in this process of being one aware and then having this mindset that I can be a person that brings someone to Jesus?
You want to take the lead?
Sure, yeah. So the One Life class is basically a new approach to evangelism. And so we're going to be going through principles where we learn kind of what's the paradigm shift of what evangelism has been traditionally, how people have reached their ones in the past, or methods that have been done, and kind of what will be most effective today. And so we go through different principles, and it'll be really challenging as you kind of look at, oh, well, that's what I've always thought, that's what I should be doing. But really, it just simplifies it so much.
Yeah. Kind of demystifies the word or idea of evangelism.
Yes.
Well, and because some people are like, I don't have that gift.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
That's right.
and there's a lot of stuff we'll go through in the class, but 95% of people don't feel like they have the gift of evangelism.
Yeah.
So if you have
That's okay.
all of the body of Christ, Christians that are supposed to be evangelizing and reaching people for Christ, but 95% of them are saying, oh, well, I can't really do that.
Not me.
Well, how much more effective could we be if we all embody these principles and are evangelizing?
Yeah.
And so that's really what the One Life class is we're looking at new principles, new foundation of how we do evangelism, and then look at some of the practical ways that we can do it and how we're going to connect with somebody and then walk through that whole process with them.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's not just a one-time thing. Is we're going to look at how do you connect with somebody and walk through the whole process with them until they have been baptized into Christ and now are part of the flock.
Yeah.
And so that's really kind of what this One Life class is all about.
That's great.
Yeah.
So give me the details then. Like, what are you asking people? Like, we've talked about as a church, we'd love every person here at the church to go through this class. So what's the expectation? What's the obligation you're asking people to take on?
Oh, we're asking them to sign up for a 6-week,
7-year.
Yeah, like no.
Sign a contract.
That's right.
Sign it off.
Sign it in blood.
Well, we want to make it as simple as possible. Levi and I went through the one-track training, and it really stole our hearts in that process. And so kind of moving that into what would it look like to bring that to our church. And so we have decided as a team to offer it in 2 sessions, an hour for each session. So 2 hours. But right now we're looking at offering it on Sunday mornings at either the 9 or the 10:45 hour. So it'll be, a couple Sundays committing to that. You can still do a Sunday school or you could still do church service and then do the One Life track as well.
Yeah. So it'll be 2 sessions, an hour each. We're going to start them on Sundays, and depending on how it's all scheduled, it'll be either at the 9 o'clock hour or the 10:45 hour. And it is, we went through this as a group, and it is one of those things that I've gone through, and then I go back and think about those principles, and I've got to go back again, and it's something that's got to get ingrained into your life over a long period of time. So I think this is going to be a great jump start for us as a church, and we are encouraging everybody to go through it. This is something that will be limited, though.
It is.
It's not going to be overwhelmed. Each class has what are we looking at?
We are going to open it up to 16 people per class to register.
Because there's dialogue, there's table discussion. You don't want to have too many, right?
Right. It's very intentional.
Yeah. So be looking for the signups. We're kind of starting at rolling it out with letting leaders go through it, letting some people that we know that we want to target, and people that can give some feedback. But do we have an idea of when the first public class is going to be?
I believe May 4th and 16th, and that's what I don't think we clarified. In the 2 sessions, 2 hours, those are 2 separate Sundays.
Right, right.
So it's not like first hour and second hour on one Sunday. It's one Sunday, then the next Sunday. So I believe the first open, and we haven't rolled this out yet as far as signups, but the first open sessions will be May 4th and 16th.
May 4th and 16th. And like I said, they took us through it kind of, we were
They're your
guinea pigs.
Yeah, definitely.
I couldn't remember the guinea part. I was just we were pigs. There were cookies there, and I ate many of them. But
they were the sheep that went through.
We were.
Yeah.
It was enjoyable, and I'm more extroverted than some people, but it was enjoyable to sit and think through. Okay, what do I believe, or what do I think about this, and then also to be challenged of maybe there's something that I'm not doing. And I think that's kind of I don't know if it's just another benefit of this, but a lot of times I'll talk to people who feel like I'm missing something. I've followed Jesus, I'm trying to do the right thing, but a lot of times our walk with Jesus is focused internally on what I'm doing or not doing. And we do miss, if that's all we're doing, we do miss the challenges, but also the benefits of now saying, okay, God, how are you going to use me? And you really see faith come to life when you start to turn outward. And it reveals stuff about yourself, and there's a balance there, but there is a lot of benefits. And sometimes people are like, I feel like I'm missing something, and this could be it, is, God has given you so much and people poured into your life, and now it's okay, it's time to turn that towards those in your sphere of influence that God is nudging you to be like, hey, there's a person there that needs Jesus. So we're excited about this track. We're excited about this class, and we hope that you will attend, see what it's all about, and I hope my goal, I think what would be like the goal, this is Daniel talking now, is seeing people that start to commit to this mindset. When we start seeing you baptize your one, or come to church and be like, hey, my person finally came to church with me today. When we start seeing those things take place, and they happen, here and there, but when it's a regular occurrence of like you're baptizing, you're bringing like, that's when we'll know, hey, we're doing this, and I think that's where the church really comes to life.
Absolutely.
So,
yep.
I'm out of questions, which is weird.
I was really.
I know, it's very odd. Do you guys have anything else you want to say?
Not really. I mean, I'm really excited about it. We've been working on it since September, so it's been a long time coming, and I think it'll be really good. It was going through everything was very challenging for me, and I think it'll be really beneficial for a lot of people. So
yeah,
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I am too. I'm looking forward to rolling it out. It's finally here. We finally get to share this with the church and bring everybody else on board and get to hear this.
Yeah. So that's what we're about. We're talking about it. We're about to unroll this class. It's called the One Life Training or Track. What are we doing? One Life Track.
One Life Track Training.
One life.
It's the One Life class, and we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, One Life. That's right. So when you hear that, we're talking about what it means to pursue the one that's far from God, that's in your sphere of influence, that God is nudging you and pushing you and prompting you to say, hey, this is someone you can reach for me. And it is a class that will help you reevaluate, consider what is your role in evangelism and helping people who are lost see Jesus and consider Christ. And it's very impactful. And if you think that's not for me because that's not my gift, just like Levi said, most people think that, and we're encouraging you, just take the 2 hours. You know what I mean? Take those 2 Sundays and sign up and say, I'll participate for this week to see what it's all about. And I think it's going to be impactful for all of us. So
I agree.
Be looking for signups. And if you have more questions about it, you can talk to Cheryl or Levi or myself, and we can do our best to answer any questions that you may have.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much for joining us this week on the Ripple Effect podcast, and we will see you here next time.